In last class, we had picked the fundamental concept of shortest job first. We have seen that shortest job first takes decision on the basis of burst time. So that is on the basis of burst time. The burst time of any process or CPU execution type of any process, if it is less, then that will get the higher priority for the execution with respect to one condition, that it is arrived earlier. So first thing which we will check, that is arrival time. If an process arrived at same time, then which one is having smaller burst time? That will get selected for the execution. So that is the overall concept. So at last we had picked and we left our discussion that SJF is having two variations, preemptive and non-preemptive. So what is preemptive and what is non-preemptive? So let's start with the same thing. Non-preemptive. How to, what do you mean by non-preemptive? What is preemptive? So let's take one example and then try to pick what is preemption and non-preemption. Suppose I have three processes, P1, P2, and P3, and I got P1 for execution 10 unit of time, P2 execution is mm, 9 unit of time, or not 9, let's do this 7 unit of time, and P3 wants to execute for 4 unit of time. That is the burst time. Now suppose arrival time is given, that this arrived at 0, this arrived at 2, and this arrived at 4. Now let's try to design SJF for it. Shortest job first. Now just tell me which process will get executed first. Shortest job first says the shortest process should get executed. So according to burst time, shortest is the P3. So will you execute P3? The answer is no. Why no? Because at 0th time, only one process arrived, and that is P1. It's as simple as that. That suppose three student uh, wants to talk to faculty member, and faculty member has deployed one algorithm that the person who is having lesser query will be entertained first. Now at 9 a.m. one student came, and only one student came, and that is P1. And P1 says that, sir, I want to ask 10 questions. Now, is the faculty member have any choice to compare with other one? These two are not yet arrived. So what teacher will do, or what faculty will do? Faculty will say, okay, come inside. Let's try to solve your problems. Now, has completed its task. It solved all the problems. After completion, definitely let's assume that each question Now, for solving each question, faculty has taken 1 unit of time. So total for 10 questions, 10 unit of time. After 10 unit of time, when faculty opened the door, it checked that now two students have arrived, P2 and P3. And if P2 and P3 are arrived, so now you got the comparative analysis. You ask to both. P2 says that I want to ask 7 questions, and P3 says I want to ask 4 questions. Now, which one faculty will prefer? Since you have multiple processes, now you can opt, and because faculty member has decided that he will entertain the student first, which is having the smallest number of queries. So now P3 student will get entertained and all queries get solved. And finally, P2 will get chance for execution and his query got solved. Now the thing is, this is one way of execution with respect to shortest job first. Now what about this situation? Let's see. At 0th time, definitely only P1 arrived, so you have given chance for execution. Now, after 2 unit of time, after 2 unit of time, P2 has knocked the door. That, sir, I am arrived and I want to ask questions. Now, how many questions you have solved here? If one question takes 1 unit of time, so you had solved 2 questions. It means what is remaining? So P1 remaining becomes 8 and P2 is having 7 queries. Now the question arises, to whom you will give the chance for the execution. I hope you got it. That's what I want to say. Now here P2 is having smaller number of questions. So shortest job first says that I should execute P2 first. But earlier we had picked that we had completed the P1 first. And here we got the difference between preemptive and non-preemptive. Now, what is preemption and what is non-preemption? Non-preemption says that once you have picked any process, you cannot leave that process in mid and you need to complete first. After completion, you can choose any process as per the algorithm. But whatever algorithm you are considering, if you have picked any process, you need to complete that process bus time. Preemption says that it's not necessary that you need to solve that process first. If you are getting a better process with respect to any factor which is followed by your algorithm, currently in shortest job first, we are considering the factor the shorter burst time. So if you got any process at any point of time which is having or which should get executed in respect to your current factor immediately, which is known as switch out your process from your CPU and switch in the new process. And this thing is actually in a technical term is known as context switching. Now what is context? Context means that whenever I want to send any process, suppose P1 I want to send out, so I need to delete all its information from my registers and I should bring new information or new context of the next process. So that is the context. So overall, switching out and bringing new process in is known as context switching. So to support the context switching, we move for the preemptive version of your algorithm. So different algorithm works on different perspective. Shortest job first have both variations, preemptive version and non-preemptive version. We had picked in our previous lecture, and in this lecture, this particular diagram is for non-preemptive version. That is non-preemptive. Once you have picked one process, you need to complete that process. Now here we were discussing about preemption, that after 2 units of time, P2 has knocked the door, and since P2 arrived, immediately comparative analysis has been performed and system has identified that okay, now P2 is having the smaller burst time. So what I'll do, I'll give chance to the P2 for execution. Now after again 2 units of time, now P2 has executed for 2, so P2 becomes 5, and P3 arrived and P3 is having 4 units of time. So which process will get chance for execution? That is P3 process. Now since there is no other process with respect to our particular scenario is arriving, now P3 will complete its task for 8 units of time. So 4 to 8, it has completed its 4 units. Now after completion, once again we'll check that P1 wants to execute for 8 units of time which is remaining, and P2 wants to execute for 5 units of time. So which process will get chance for execution? That is P2 process, and it will get completed. It will complete its 5 units. So 8 plus 5, 13. And finally, P1 again will get chance for execution, and it will finish its remaining 8 units, so it becomes 21. So as you can see, once again, for cross checking, starting time and ending time both are equal irrespective of preemptive or non-preemptive. The only difference is in the mid. Preemptive supports the context switching. Non-preemptive says that you cannot deploy the context switching. If I have pegged one process, I will complete that process. So that is non-preemptive. So preemptive and non-preemptive both versions and execution of both things. So the question arises that okay, in this non-preemptive version, we had calculated the waiting time and turnaround time. How to calculate waiting time in this particular situation? So let's again redraw this thing and try to calculate waiting time and turnaround time. So we had picked that is 0, P1, 2, P2, 4, P3, 8, P2, 13, and P1, 21. So let's try to pick waiting time of P1, P2, and P3. Or what I can do, non-preemptive waiting time and preemptive waiting time. So let's consider both things so that everything gets cleared. Now let's first of all non-preemptive. What is waiting time in non-preemptive for P1? That is 0, 0. Now what is waiting time of P1 in preemptive? Preemptive in waiting time. So Although it gets started at 0, but let's see here, from 13, from 2 to 13, this process has waited for getting chance, another for execution. So 13 minus 2, that is 11 unit of time in mid that P1 process has waited, and at the start, since it arrived at 0 and immediately get chance, so plus 0, that is total 11 unit of time waited by the P1 process. Now let's pick the next one, P2 process. P2 process has arrived at 2 unit of time, and when it got chance here, in non-preemptive version, now in non-preemptive P2 got chance at 14. So arrived at 2 and got chance at 14. So total waiting time becomes 12. Now what about non-preemptive? Non-preemptive says that arrived at 2, that is arrival time. Now here students, be very careful. Sometimes you get confused and always take from the basic time of arrival, that is 0. It's not necessary. P2 arrived at 2 unit of time, so its waiting time or each and every time will get started from 2. You have arrived at 9 a.m. So I am not going to calculate your waiting time from 6 a.m. It will get started from the 9 a.m. itself. So that is the point here. So because it arrived at 2, immediately got chance. So at the start, P2 has waited 0. But after 4 unit of time, you have switched out that P2 and again you bring that P2 in 8. So from 4 to 8 you had waited. So 8 minus 4, that becomes 4. So total waiting time becomes 4. Now for P3 process, let's pick. In non-preemptive, P3 process arrived at 4 and got execution at 10. So 10 minus 4, that is 6. And in preemptive version, arrived at 4, got execution at 4. So this becomes 0. So what is total waiting time? That is 12 plus 6, 18, and 11 plus 4, 15. You can see. Now, which system is more responsive? Definitely, your preemptive version is more responsive because whenever any process is coming, at least that process got a certain execution time. So each and every process can say that I got little bit time for execution. However, I have not yet completed. Although be sure it's not necessary that always your preemptive waiting time is smaller than the non-preemptive waiting time. So it's not necessary that NP waiting time is lesser than preemptive waiting time, or NP waiting time is greater than preemptive waiting time. Now this is also not true, this is also not true. Anything can happen. It depends upon situation. So be careful. You cannot say that this particular thing will always have lesser waiting time. But one thing you can be pretty sure, that preemptive version of algorithm will be more responsive than the non-preemptive version. And since I am using the term responsive, the response time which we had picked in our criteria Here comes it is the response time of preemptive version will be most of the time better than the non-preemptive. In certain cases, both can be equal. So that is overall preemption, non-preemption, and shortest job first preemptive algorithm and non-preemptive algorithm. We had picked one example and we have solved that example for both things, for preemptive context and for non-preemptive. We have also checked that preemptive version means we are now considering the context switching. So we had discussed also what is context switching. So that is all for today's lecture. In next lecture, uh, or rather, let's pick few more things and then we will wind up this lecture. That is, what are advantage and disadvantage of shortest job first? So according to you, what is advantage of shortest job first? Yes, the primary advantage of shortest job first that we can see that this algorithm provide comparatively better average waiting time than the first come first serve algorithm. The reason we had picked the disadvantage in FCFS and then converted the algorithm from it. So it is providing better result than the FCFS. But the most important thing is that can you implement SJF as it is? The answer is no. Why no? Because SJF is dependent upon CPU time. In practical scenario, nobody knows even if you are using the system, you even don't know that how much amount of time you are going to invest for any specific application. Suppose you have started this video for studying and you have earlier thought that now today I am going to complete my study. But what will happen? Suddenly your mood gets swinged and you have switched off everything and you moved for the movie or any other aspect. So it's totally unpredictable that what will be the first time of any process. Since you cannot predict the burst time or you cannot uh, exactly say what will be the executional time of any process, hence implementation as it is implementation of shortest job first is not feasible. However, yes, we can implement shortest job first by using probability, where I'll use the prediction technique, where I'll predict the future aspect that this process can take X amount of time in future. I am not sure, but my calculation says that it can take X amount of time, and from that calculation, I can get the burst time, which is the primary concern of my shortest job first, and then I can schedule those processes. So that can be done. So by deploying certain predictional approach, we can solve shortage or we can implement shortage job first. Now, apart from that non-feasibility with respect to implementation, what are other disadvantages of shortest job first? So another disadvantage comes that is it necessary that smaller first time process is more important always? The answer is no. There is a possibility that Suppose at the start you want to execute one program which is going to monitor all the programs. Now that program will have burst time longer than all other programs, and suddenly any smaller program comes and your algorithm will switch out that main monitor program and bring to itself. Now, is it the right thing? The answer is no. So somehow we need to provide explicit priority to different processes, that okay, these are operating systems important processes. So if any if these processes will arrive, you need to give time to these processes. Other things, suppose user has clicked certain thing. So if user has clicked, definitely user wants to access that process. So you need to provide external priority to each and every process. And on the basis of those external priority, you can design or you can schedule your process. So that is our disadvantage of shortest job first, that it only based on the shortest job. So it cannot survive when you have better priorities or better way of organizing priorities. So that is disadvantage. Now one more disadvantage, that is starvation. Now what is starvation? Starvation means waiting for infinity. So how system wait for infinity? Starvation says that suppose one process, the P1 process arrived and it wants to execute for 100 unit of time. Now, after that, suppose I have a preemptive version of it, and in preemptive version, P2 process arrived. Now, because P2 process arrived and it wants to execute for 2 unit of time, so P1 will get switched out and P2 will get switched in. Now, all other processes which are arriving, that are uh, Px processes that wants to execute lesser than the P1. So will P1 will get chance at any point of time? The answer is no. Hence, P1 will never get a chance for execution. It will run for infinite time. And that is the concept of starvation. Starvation means infinite waiting of process. Hence, shortest job first have problem of starvation. So these are different disadvantages. Now in next class, we will pick another algorithm. Uh, just I have mentioned that name also in this particular thing once we were discussing shortest job first, that is priority. And we will pick that how priority handles different things. Apart from that, I have also picked one thing here, that is shortest job first with respect to prediction. So we will focus on both things. So we'll discuss all those stuff in our next lectures. Thank you.